Late night podcast, long day, busy day. But I don't know. I actually didn't find out about any of this until pretty much recently. I was watching a couple of other people podcasts, and I think that this is the big news here that's got everybody riled up. So I'm going to read through a couple articles here, give my thoughts, and see and see where everything is going. You know what I'm saying? I think that this could make for a good discussion. Good discussion. Um, so 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 as you see with the title of this podcast and the article about Phil Spencer at the end to exclusivity in order to solve the industry problems. Um, we'll see what the article said. I did kind of read through it before, make sure it wasn't just a bunch of nonsense. Um, so yeah, just give me a second, guys. On just getting the final touches for everything, and then we could jump into it. All right. Hey, what's up, Spy? He said Phil Spencer's playing 4D chess. Epic Game Stores has PlayStation games. Yeah. I was reading how Phil said he'd like to have Epic Games and others on Xbox consoles, which with stuff like that, I think is more of wishful thinking more so than an actual plan that's going to happen anytime soon. With stuff like that about him talking about bringing those different stores to Xbox, I say, hey, just hold off on that. Don't get too excited until we see something come of that. To me, stuff like that just sounds more like, hey, this is what I would do in a fantasy world, if you will, right? If I had, if I had, if I had it my way, basically. All right, so let's start with this article here because I think, and the reason why I say I think because I saw a lot of people talking about Xbox today, and and none of them really explained it too well, in my opinion, or maybe I was just so busy that I didn't properly pay attention. So if I'm incorrect about the information, feel free to let me know. But this article from today, March 26th. Let's see what I have to say. It says the head of Microsoft gaming business has attempted to explain the turmoil in the industry as he attacks the whole concept of exclusivity. It happened suddenly and without obvious cause, but it's clear the video game industry has seen a major shift in the last few months. Now, I disagree with the first sentence already. I don't think that what we're seeing has happened suddenly. If anything, this is something that's been boiling over for years now. Guys, we're in the 4K 60 HDR ray tracing era of video games. That is extremely expensive to pull off. Hell, just look at how much data it uses just to broadcast something in 4K, much less playing these games in it. So off the bat, no, for the writer of this article, I disagree. This is not what's going on in the video game is something that was just clearly starting to boil over, and it was going to happen because what was going on wasn't sustainable. And what's funny is that a lot of the people in gaming have kind of been saying it wasn't sustainable for a minute now. As Microsoft, Sony, and other publishers have started fretting about lack of industry growth and the downsides of format exclusives. Sony in particular has been acting strangely for well over a year now, which is presumably when Microsoft also realized there was a problem, but neither have explained themselves publicly to either investors or ordinary gamers. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has made the first attempt, though, in a new interview in which he admits the math on making games has definitely changed. Yeah, I mean, of course it's going to change when the games cost $100, $200, $300 million. You know what I'm saying? And part of that is, when you're trying to sell these consoles on 4K 60 and can do all the bells and whistles, And gaming was already expensive to develop for, as we saw since the HD era, basically. Where let's not forget, even back in the seventh generation, during the Xbox 360, PS3 days, we lost a lot of developers and publishers due to games being so expensive that even when they were selling a million, 2 million copies, it was still considered a financial failure, right? And what we're seeing now, to me, is just more of an extension of it. So the math on making games has definitely changed. Yeah, definitely. That's because it's too expensive. You know, like Nintendo are the only ones who aren't making super expensive games. And I don't know. I don't know if the PlayStation Xbox audience could be trained on being okay with weaker, you know what I'm saying, less expensive games. For example, let's say if the next Halo doesn't, it comes out and it doesn't look as good as Halo Infinite. I don't know if the average gamer would be okay with that, or if they'll be okay with the next God of War not looking as good as the last one, God of War Ragnarok, because they got a scaled down budget, but still give you something that's fun to play. You know, maybe gamers are a strange bunch like that. Hopefully, y'all can hear me loud and uh, Spy here said, if you read between the lines, Bill's basically saying that it's not impossible to have a Windows dual boot basically alongside Xbox OS. If it was impossible, I feel like Phil wouldn't have said that. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. We'll see what he says along the way. As you expect, most of what Phil said is either self-evident or extremely vague, with the central issue being that you need to own $300 million. That you now need $300 million to build a video game. I mean, technically you don't need that, but I get what you're saying. If you want the big budget AAA blockbuster, a matter of fact, I find it interesting that with all the tech in these games, that they haven't really found a way to pull this off a little more, I don't know, inexpensive, if you will. He then outlined the three major problems this caused in terms of the amount of risk publishers are willing to take on new games, the lack of growth in the game industry in the last 2 years, and Spencer's assertion that exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of games go up. Yeah, my reaction to this paragraph here is that I think the main problem is the lack of growth they're seeing. You know, from my understanding, the console gamers are pretty much just upgrading in the sense that let's say someone who isn't a gamer goes out. Apparently, I guess there aren't many like new gamers who probably never owned a console, bought their first Xbox, for example, type situations. That's what I'm thinking when they say stuff like lack of growth in the gaming industry, right? Like the audience you're selling to is the audience that was there last generation, basically, and you're not seeing more new people jump in. And you know, exclusivity gets pressured up at the cost of excuse me, tongue tie. Spencer's assertion that exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of the games go up. I mean, exclusives get pressured regardless because they're the game face of your brand. You know, those are the games that you're telling the consumer that, hey, this is why you should buy our console or our product or invest into our product, right? Because most games, by a large majority, are on pretty much every platform, damn near. You know, GTA 6 is going to be on Xbox, PC, PlayStation. Assassin's Creed is on Xbox, PC, PlayStation. You name it, it's on Xbox, PC, PlayStation, or Nintendo Switch in some form of capacity. So when you're putting out exclusives, in my opinion, you're pretty much putting out, hey, it's almost to a sense like I'm not even sure what other analogy works here. I know the fast food analogy is used a lot, like the Big Macs and Whoppers. You know, you can only get a Whopper at Burger King type situation. You know, and I don't know if people are just that hardcore fans of fucking Big Macs and Whoppers like that to where they're a game, but that's really the only comparable I could think of. At no point does Spencer discuss why there has been no growth in recent years, but given the very different positions of the Series S and X and PS5? His answer may be substantially different than Sony's. That is actually a very astute point. Why I think if they could be open, if these guys, because he's not the only one who spoke about stuff like this. Let's not forget Sean Layden recently. This article was from March 20th, 2024, so not long ago. Sean Layden spoke about the issues with the cost of gaming. So this is a topic. This is not just a topic that Phil's talked about here. So the why there's been no growth is most important. Hey, what's up, Zink? Excuse me there. The why there hasn't been the growth last couple of years is most important. Yeah. This article seems some clickbait. Sony admit there's no growth. Yeah, definitely. Of course, 100% by Sony has admitted there's no growth. You know, and whenever they'll figure out the why, that would probably be the solution to their biggest problem, I think. Me personally, if so far everything I'm reading, I'm not really getting the sense that he's hinting at the end of exclusivity. Maybe I'm just not reading between the lines hard enough. But let's say that the title's correct and he is insinuating the exclusivity to solve the industry problem. I don't think that's it. So here's the thing. Here's the reality. And for some reason, the current market just refuses to admit this. Infinite growth is not a thing. All right. There's limitations everywhere. And for some reason in the business world, there's this false idea that every company is going to ride an infinite growth upwards forever. And that's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you're going to run out of gamers console gamers. Eventually, you're going to run out of gamers in general. You know, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Yeah, that's a lot. But it's still a finite number, right? And so this idea that about, I think maybe the problem is just that the people running gaming are just looking at it the wrong way. That they're a lot of them are so beholden to, say, shareholders, right? That they've got to keep pushing that, hey, this is how we grew, when the reality is there's just going to be a natural ceiling on it. It just is, you know, and maybe that's the issue. The thing that has me most concerned in the industry is the lack of growth. When you have an industry, and by the way, this is here quoting Phil Spencer, the thing that has me most concerned for the industry is the lack of growth. And when you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, and you get a lot of publicly traded companies that are in the industry that have to show their investors growth, because why else does somebody own a share of someone's stock that's not going to grow? The side of the business that then gets scrutinized is the cost side, because if you're not going to grow on the revenue side, then the cost side becomes challenging. Yeah, basically Phil said what I damn near what I was pretty much hinting at a minute ago. This idea of growth that is always going to grow and games going to keep growing. It might not be a thing. You know what I'm saying? It might just be a natural ceiling, right? And maybe they've reached the ceiling this generation or something. I don't know, but I think that this is important. What he's saying here, this part, there's a lot of money tied up in the gaming business side, right? A lot, and that money's going to have to be made somewhere, right? And they're investing money for a reason, and they want to see results. And when they don't get results, you know, they're going to come at you some other way. And gaming, and the thing about gaming is very interesting, because gaming doesn't work like, say, Microsoft Office. You know, there's no Microsoft Office exclusivity. You could have Office on your phone now these days, on your tablet these days. It's not, you know what I'm saying? You don't just have a PC or laptop and that's the only way you can use Office, right? And there's no mentality to I bought this for this PC software. It's been the end all of PC. I think you mean that. I don't know. I'm not actually sure what you mean there, Devil Shooter, but thank you for joining. Yeah, but anyway, uh, this whole issue of the lack of growth the last few years that seems to be the catalyst of everything going on. And then they're looking at, okay, why are we paying $300 million on a game and it's not making that back or not making that back fast enough? For in the case of like PlayStation games, not at all. You know, and that's the thing. Business, business at the end of the day is business, and gaming is more of like an artistic. Gaming like films, entertainment, comics are are artistic, right? And the artistic side is what draws us in. But the business side don't tend to not really care that much, or at least they care as far as where the money's going. And I think this paragraph is probably going to be the crutch of the issue, unless he says something more profound going forward. But we'll see. Spencer repeatedly returns to the question of exclusivity and what seems to be a fairly transparent attempt to prepare fans for the idea that most or all of their games will go multi-platform, as predicted by other industry sources. Am I reading the wrong source? Because again, nothing. I'm not seeing anything where he's hinting at the lack of exclusives. By the way, we should stick to the topic, but maybe at the end we can discuss Dragon Dogma 2. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Although he doesn't explain his reasoning, he blames exclusivity for stagnation in the industry, which will certainly be new to Nintendo. And while he never announced any new plans, the implication is more multi-platform games on the way. I think that, again, I feel like I'm reading the wrong fucking thing because I'm still trying to find where he's blaming exclusives, other than this kind of sort of quote here. But yeah, personally, I don't think exclusives are the problem. First of all, there are not that many exclusive games in the sense that you look at all the games released throughout each year. I guarantee well over 95% of them are on other platforms. So it's not like the gaming industry is like the streaming services where there's like if you could find almost nothing right on HBO Max, and you could go to Disney Plus and you can't find any of that stuff. But with games, you can find Madden, you can find NBA, you can find the smaller games like you can find like Dragon Ball games on multiple consoles and Hang on Life on multiple consoles and stuff, right? So if that's what he's hinting at, I gotta disagree. That I just don't think exclusivity is the main cause here, because exclusives is not the reason why the other games have these big huge ass budgets, right? Because it's not like, okay, it's not like, say, Cyberpunk. I remember reading Cyberpunk having over $200 million budget. That's a multi-platform game, so you can't blame exclusivity for that. You can't blame exclusivity for Dragon's Dogma, right? Or that Avatar game or anything else. So if this is Phil's way of trying to train the Xbox community into thinking that it's the unexclusive, I gotta disagree there, and I don't think that's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? If you just want it on other platforms, just go ahead and say it. I personally respect honesty more than trying to be coy here and think, but if we put our games on Nintendo and PlayStation, that'll solve the problem. The reality is, if you put your games on Nintendo and PlayStation, people just buy Nintendo and PlayStation because they're not going to put their games on Xbox, right? The only way that this makes sense is if Phil gets this weird situation where all three of the console makers are going to put their games elsewhere, and I just don't see that happening. I just don't. The notion that Xbox can only be this one device that plugs into television is something we see with Gen Z research, because nothing else is like that for them. Some of them will have an iPhone, some will have an Android, but all the games and everything is the same. I could still go to TikTok on both of them, at least for now. All their stuff is available wherever they want. So for Xbox, our brand pivot as we attract and maintain relevance with younger audiences. Xbox is a place where I could find find the great games I want to. What does that have to do with exclusives exactly? I'm not exactly sure how that, because I mean you could already play Xbox games on phone, tablet, hell, even on certain TVs, on your PC, and on console. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where else you could reach after that. You know, so this is Phil's way of trying to again and again. Maybe I'm just not reading. Maybe I'm reading something here incorrect because I'm not even seeing any of this shit. I'm not even seeing any of the anti exclusivity talk here. You know, it's just that the article just keeps making it seem that way, and I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see exactly where this is going because I saw so many people talking about things, and I'm still coming out of this confused on exactly what's the drama here. You know, and again, if I could possibly read, maybe since Phil is being vague, he's saying, hey, we're saying that we're going to put Starfield on PlayStation, Nintendo next too, right? But I don't know. I'm not really seeing that. All right, and then this article here is going to have some of the more similar. I think Phil is just preparing for the future, not taking any huge risks to hurt the Xbox brand. He knows the rest of the industry is going in the same direction. Xbox is just the leader. That's an interesting point, Spy, because what we might be seeing here is Phil just being the only one honest about the situation, right? Maybe he's the only one that's willing to be honest and open about the situation, and he's going to take his punches, right? He's going to take his punches. He's going to take his hits, right? And over like, hey guys, this is where it's going. It's going to happen. I'm just letting you guys know what the future gaming is now. You could hate me now, but when the time comes, you know, I'm trying to set up Xbox for the best possible future. That's entirely possible. You know, I don't know. But you know, with all this talk lately about how exclusives is risky, and by the way, guys, again, Phil Spencer has not been the only one saying this. We saw this earlier this month with Sean Layden. Exclusivity is your Achilles heel. Game costs exceed $200 million. You know what I'm saying? So let's not sit here and pretend that this is an Xbox only thing. So hopefully this article has some better quotes, and I don't feel like I'm just have to assume shit just to come to the conclusion. The math on making a game has definitely changed. Polygon spoke with Phil during the annual GDC, and though the conversation ranged from the possibility of a handheld to the troubled with closed platforms. Jesus, more shit to read. One of them is inescapable. What the hell is going on with the game industry? And how will video game makers and publishers, Xbox included, get out of it? Spencer's viewpoint to the collision of rising budgets, diversifying business models, and the exceptional financial risk now required to meet audience expectations of AAA releases. He specifically pointed out the astronomical budgets of big budget games, which have created a lot of problems that have been challenging to disentangle. For Spencer, the path forward is to abandon the assumption about exclusivity and attract new customers who have cooled on the console experience. So this is okay, journalists. If you're going to interview Phil on something like that, can you at least get him to specify what he means by exclusivity? Because when I hear exclusive, abandon assumptions about exclusivity to attract new customers who have cooled on a console experience, my brain goes to, okay, he don't want games exclusive to consoles, but he wants them on other devices. What if he means, again, there's just too much what ifs. Too much what ifs, right? With stuff like this. And again, my personal thoughts. I don't think the issue is exclusivity. I think that's kind of ridiculous to think that when all AAA games have these crazy budgets. And I don't know. Why don't the how do these companies then, if the budget's so high, just then start developing games with smaller budgets and using smaller teams then? I mean, it's not like they'll knock down the price anyway if they use a smaller budget. Let's be real. If the let's say Sony, man, they cut the budget of the next Spider-Man game. Instead of being $300 million game, it's 100. They still gonna sell that game for $70 fucking. So you know what I'm saying? But first, for context, Spencer talked about how things used to work when budgeting and greenlighting a video game. Microsoft has been producing games for long enough that he can remember when the financials were relatively straightforward. A publisher could set a sales goal, say 800,000 units, set an earnout goal, how much money they want to make, and set the price game accordingly, usually $60. From there, a video game publisher or studio could set its budget. However, the financial calculus has changed. In 2024, most games are sold across multiple storefronts, often steeply discounted mere weeks after release or included as part of a subscription service on launch day. Plus, games themselves take many years to create with the help of hundreds, if not thousands, of teammates, members, sometimes spread across the world. All of this add up to, Spencer says, it cost $300 million to build a video game. True. And by the way, this stuff like this is nothing that we've talked about on this channel. You know, none of this is particularly new. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is why games cost so much and all of that. I don't know. My brain just thinks, okay, if you're at the head of these, you know, I'm sure that there are ways to do things a bit more streamlined, right? So Spencer explained how this cost forces three substantial problems. One for all big budget games, one unique to console exclusives, and one that spans the entire industry. All right, the first one, the cost really reduces the risk that publishers are willing to take. Okay, so this is the criticism that we've seen for. I gotta be honest with you. I've seen this criticism since the 360 days about the lack of risk in AAA games. Where previous games need to sell a few 100,000 units to justify their cost, new games need to sell millions. If you're a publisher, you know that's a pretty big number in a world that really has lots of video games coming. How are you going to establish this thing? Am I willing to take the red on a new IP, on a new kind of game, when the earnout risk is that high? I think it impinges on the creativity of the industry, which I don't love. Creativity is like the cornerstone of what we should be about in gaming. Yeah. See, this is something. This again, not particularly new. You know what I'm saying? Because all you got to do is pay attention to video games of the old. Back in the day, you could put out Def Jam Vendetta in 2003, and in 2004, Def Jam Fight for New York was even better. You were able to make a better game in a year. Obviously, you can't do that now, right? Obviously, you can't do that now. And then, like I said, forever, you know, these games. Hell, there's been situations where games really did sell millions of units and it still was a financial failure. Or games like I believe the developer Murder Soul Suspect that went under the day the game released. You know. And what's funny is that maybe, and I get it. I get it. When you're a publisher and you're going to spend all this money on a game, you kind of want the safest bet possible. But maybe again, maybe they're kind of looking at it wrong. Where maybe taking the gamble is is the path to the big success. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't have the pressure of millions upon millions of dollars on a fucking video game and finding ways to make that money back. The cost is particularly prohibited for exclusive that can only reach so many players, as Spencer explained in our conversation about the perils of exclusivity and walled garden consoles. These games need to make additional money to justify the console maker subsiding the cost of the console, as Phil explained. The case for exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of games go up. All right, now this makes way more sense than the other article, which just seems to cut a lot of stuff, man. Maybe Phil was hinting at the loss of creativity and the risk if they didn't go in this direction. Yeah, I think that's what he was saying too there, Spy. But yeah, man, this makes a lot more sense when there's actual proper content, because the other article skipped so much shit. I was kind of lost. Yeah, and you know you know the thing about exclusivity though is that in the gaming space, we're talking about, here's the thing about audiences and stuff. You kind of train your audience over the year what to expect, and gaming has created an expectation of exclusivities with its consoles, right? Which is why whenever there's a big shift on how exclusivity works, it always causes issues. Back in 2016, when Xbox started to put games on PC, huge controversy because it was such a huge change, right? A huge change in how we saw exclusivity, right? And that's the case now again here. So that, but with that said, I and at some point, I guess if these games are losing that much money, which I'm assuming this is what he's saying, like, look, man, these exclusives just not making money, so why keep them exclusive, right? Then you could either put your games elsewhere, which is what they did with those 4 games, right? Or B, try to find other ways to get people to buy it. I think those are your 2 major options in a situation like that. But again, exclusives are only like just a handful of the games that are released throughout the year, and according to Spencer, the console market has not grown in the past year. Though Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo consoles continue to sell, Spencer notes that many console gamers are simply upgrading, or to put it another way, they're not new to the market and won't contribute to the growth. And without new customers, everybody else's customer is your success state. That's a bit of a tongue tie. You can't succeed unless you draw on customers from other publishers and other platforms. And because you're not finding new customers with the games that you're building, everybody's kind of fighting over the same size pie. Yeah, that's a very, and again, like we were talking about earlier, that part 3 is a very, that's the business side, right? You got to keep growing. You got to keep finding a way, right? And when there are only so many X amount of console gamers and people willing to buy consoles, at least, so that's why Sony's putting their games on PC as well, because they too see that the Sony I argue is probably having an even worse, having even a worse issue here, because again, sorry guys for getting a bit tongue tied there. Like I said, long day. It's currently 11:41 p.m. where I'm at, so my brain's a little out there sometimes. The point is, Yeah. When the cost goes up, as is the case specifically with Xbox and PlayStation games, I'm assuming Nintendo games. Well, Nintendo games clearly aren't as expensive, and so even though I think the prices, the cost to develop the Ghost games are also up, they're probably at say the amount big game was in the 8 for 7 generation compared to what we got going on now. That'll be my assumption on Nintendo specifically. But yeah, Xbox and PlayStation, we know without a doubt, Spider-Man, Starfield, and all that, $200 million, $200 to $300 million budgets, you know, and all this other stuff, man. And it does seem like an issue that was pretty much just boiling for a while now, right? The issue of, hey, look, guys, um, our games cost a lot, and I know that we putting it on one platform here or one ecosystem. What can we do to get even more people? Because it's been pretty much proven. You look at the PlayStation numbers. Not a lot of PlayStation owners buy their exclusive, right? There's a reason why. You know what I'm saying? Although Sony keeps claiming 50 million PlayStation 5s have been sold. And we already know that there's never going to be a situation where 50 million PS5 owners are going to buy Spider-Man. And I think that this is how Phil's kind of looking at things. And like I said, with the whole lack of growth thing. Now, I'll say this. I don't necessarily think that if if consoles are selling to the same console owners who are upgrading, to be fair, since a lot of them are not buying these exclusives, again, on PlayStation, we know for a fact Spider-Man 2 is not selling 50 million fucking units on a console. They say it sold 50 million. In theory, that does mean that you still got a lot of people you could still sell them games to. Maybe they'll never, maybe not. Maybe because they're console gamers and are never going to play it. You know what I'm saying? But back to the article here. These problems have had a very real, substantial, and immediate human cost. The industry has seen consistent mounting of layoffs, including a particularly rough start to this year. Shortly after Microsoft acquisition of ABK, Activision Blizzard King, the company announced it would be laying off 1,900 workers from its gaming division. I think I gotta be real with you. Am I the only one who thought that the whole laying off 1,900 workers was more because of the merger completed more so than the state of the industry? I don't know. I mean, because I've seen corporate mergers before, and most of them just end up like that. After the merger they cut some fat, if you will. And I'm not trying to just like disrespect the human aspect by saying, oh, they're just fat, but you get my fucking point. Where was I? Polygon asked Bill Spencer if the ABK layoffs were part of this wider trend, if there was something unique about the layoffs pertaining to current Xbox build. It's a little bit of both, but I'll say the thing that has me most concerned for the industry is the lack of growth. And when you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, you get a lot of publicly traded companies. Okay, I read that earlier. Yeah, about all the traded companies have to show their investors growth, because why else would somebody invest their money someone's stock who won't grow? Yeah. Pretty much the business side. Honestly, it sounds like the business side is kind of fucking the gaming side, because the business side wants to see growth results, something that will probably naturally stagnate, right? Eventually, and in theory, that they're like, look, man, we can't keep investing in these games and they ain't making that money back. Which fair enough. That's how investments work. And if you're gonna be in business, you're gonna have to play the game of business. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, this is what gaming kind of signed up for, if you think about it. And in all good businesses, they'll pivot. they find ways. They'll find new ways to grow or make money or whatever the situation is. Because that's how it works. That's how it works. We're a business. I've said over and over. I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable, growing business inside Microsoft, and we are that today. But just across the industry, you mentioned it. And in sitting here at GDC, I reflect on friends of mine in the industry that have been displaced and lost their jobs, and just I don't want this industry to be a place where people can't, with confidence, build a career. So that's why I keep pivoting back to how does this industry get back to growth? But to your question, for us as Xbox or any of the teams that are out there, it is really an outcome of an industry that's not growing. It can grow and it will grow again. But you see this time right now and the implications, the human impact, and we should all reflect on and think about that. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, look, I get it. I get it. You got to run a business. You got to do what's best for the business. I'd argue that, and for if he's like, look, exclusivity is the way path to it. Um, I'd argue, well, that doesn't help Xbox. Probably doesn't help the Xbox hardware side. Maybe it'll help it software wise, which is probably what they focus on. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Um, that's how I think and Phil's looking at it. Because I just don't it's pretty. It's you're not going to really sell people on hey, our game, our games might be on PlayStation or Nintendo, but they run best on Xbox. And the reason that don't work is because that's how console people feel about PC. Technically, you could build a PC that's more powerful than the Xbox, right? And I don't give a shit. And I think a lot of people know. People just want to play game. They just want to play the games on their favorite platform. I think he's talking about Sony too, without saying Sony also going to be doing the same thing. He said consoles, not console. Oh yeah, definitely Extreme D. I think 100%. Sony is we talk about gaming as a whole, right? But in the context of Xbox, because he runs Xbox, and yeah, man, profitable business, you pretty much we're a business. I said over and over, I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable, growing business inside Microsoft, and we are that today. So I mean, Phil's been saying that they're profitable forever, and nobody still don't give a shit, right? Uh, but still, I think just for discussion's sake, um, I'm curious on how he looks at things, and I kind of wish the interviewer asked a bit more specific questions, so we could get just to get over the what ifs. That's all I'm saying. I don't think the situation with exclusives will change anytime soon, personally. Um, but it's one of the things where if you think Phil is hinting at the end of it, then be prepared for that future. I guess be prepared for that future. And I don't and what a lot of people see is like, okay, Xbox might be willing to put the games elsewhere, but PlayStation and Nintendo aren't. You know what I'm saying? I'd argue that I don't care how bad either company's doing, they probably won't bend that knee. Sony would bend their knee on something like that but before Nintendo would probably. Nintendo really seems like they stuck, man. Hey, what's up? Acute Perspective. Thank you for joining. As we talk through Microsoft plans for growth, both with the company and wider game space, Spencer continually returned to the idea of exclusivity. This year, Xbox has ported 4 exclusive to other consoles. I don't know why you say like Nintendo. It was Nintendo Switch and PS5. For Spencer, this is a way to bring more players and sell the old game. There's also a way to break some old industry habits like exclusivity that may be responsible for the stagnation of the console market. Yeah, this this part of the paragraph, I disagree with Phil Spencer on, only because for one, Sea of Thieves, for example, had like 35 million players, and Grounded had over 20 million. So I don't know. I just don't think that putting the games on Nintendo or PlayStation is going to cause these games to have 50 million players, for example. I just don't see that being the end result. My gut tells me, that if things are stagnant in gaming and there's not lack of growth, I don't think this is going to cause the growth in sales or players that Phil might think, or whoever's making that call. And also break some old industry habits like exclusivity that may be responsible for the stagnation of console market. Yeah, and here's a question for the chat: do you think? Hey, Hebot, what's up, man? Since you're up, I might. Since you and Zink are up, I might just. I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be streaming. Yeah. So in the chat, let me ask you this: do you think that ending exclusivity, for example, would bring the end to stagnation in the console market? Because the argument that I've always heard is, you buy the consoles for the exclusives, right? And you buy, if you're on Xbox, you want your Starfield, Halo, and all that, Gears, and all that. You're on PlayStation, you want your God of War, Spider-Man, and on Nintendo, you want your fucking Pokemon and Mario. And it's kind of those small selected games that are the different, that are the big selling points, if you will. Because again, guys, let's not forget, way more than like 95% of games are on multiple platforms as it is. So in the grand scheme of gaming, you're not really missing out. It just only matters, where's your loyalty lies and what interests you more, console wise. So to me personally, and this is just me, I don't think the end of exclusivity is the path to success for Xbox, especially as a console, as a console, So I really, for any of the chat, if you're interested, let me know what you guys think. For example, and I think another problem is that if even one console keeps their exclusives, like for a situation where where no exclusivities would work, that would have to be something all the console makers do. Because if only one of them don't, right? If only one of them don't, then that creates a situation in my world where they could say, "Hey, you could play God of War, Mario, and Halo on our console. You can't do that on the others." And then what would be the selling point to the other consoles then? Because again, I don't think people care about stuff like, "Hey, let me put it this way. I don't think they care strongly enough about say, hey, our games are the best place to play, because if that was the case, then every single gamer will have a high-end PC. And we know that's not the case, because even on PC, most PC gamers aren't fucking on the high-end PC. Nintendo would die before they bend over. True. Extreme D said, agreed. What if they flop on PlayStation, Nintendo, and then what? If those games, and I do think they're going to flop on Nintendo, PlayStation personally. But if they flop, I think that they're just going to see that, okay, that's not the path to growth. We got to pivot to something else. We got to keep because we got to just keep building the brand itself, and not think that we're chasing other games is the path to success, right? I think that's the way to go. Because I just don't see a situation here that this paragraph says. For Spencer, the way to bring more players and sales to old games is to put them and to break some old industry habits, which I think this part's the most important part of the sentence, like exclusivity that may be responsible for the stagnation in console market. My theory is that the stagnation is probably just there because you can only sell so much of anything. Like there are only so many fucking iPhones Apple sells. There are only so many Samsung Galaxy phones Samsung sells. You know what I'm saying? Um. So yeah, man. There would be no point to buy any console if there's nothing unique. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, probably so. Well, and this is where Phil Spencer said something about how on phones, because I mean I own a Samsung phone. It's not like Apple has an exclusive has an exclusive Bank of America app or something. You know what I'm saying? So Phil might be looking at it from a mobile standpoint, but consoles aren't mobile. Gaming isn't mobile. Even if you could do gaming on mobile, right? I think the uniqueness part adds a lot to the and here's another thing about it. If gaming started, if there was never a point of if exclusivity never happened in gaming, this wouldn't be an issue. If since day one in gaming, every console was releasing every game on every platform from day one, and the way that we saw the way that we differentiated consoles with the way we do with phones, like, hey, do you like the Android operating system or Apple operating system? Which one you prefer? This wouldn't be an issue, but since we have like 5 decades of gaming being these game consoles were selling like, yo, you can only play Mario on Nintendo, you can only play Sonic on Sega Genesis, and so on. We're trained. As consumers, we're trained to think, okay, I'm buying Xbox for this. I just don't think if this is Phil idea, and this isn't just a writer just throwing shit at the wall. I think I don't think that's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Um, but that's just me. Extreme said, no, I think it's the price of games. I think it's the price of games a problem, and that Gen Z people who don't play the big AAA games, they just play COD, Fortnite, and Warzone. Um, yeah, the price. Yeah, the price is an issue because there's $70 fucking in a time where everything is expensive. You know what I'm saying? And gaming is a luxury item. Gaming is not a necessity. We do not need video games to survive. So the fact that the big AAA games are $70 now is just out of so many people's reaches that the ones who are still, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And if companies like Rockstar get their way, and they could release $100 fucking games, then it just becomes a novelty item. A novelty item, basically, where the only people who are you're either only buying games when it's on sale, or if you're buying it day one, it's because you really want that game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the price of games is a huge problem, and gaming did it to themselves because they pushed the 4K 60 ray tracing and all this shit on us as selling points. And as consumers, we're gonna say, okay, cool, that looks awesome. Put it in your game. You know what I'm saying? And now there's this weird cycle of, okay, I can't release a big budget game without X, Y, and Z, and the audience won't accept it unless it has X, Y, and Z, or if it does something so different. You need to play it. The problem is Sony ain't shit, and the media and YouTubers are trying to save Sony. Yeah, they can't. Nah. Oh, listen, everything that's happening here, like I said, Xbox people who work they have not been the only ones talking about this shit. Not even close. So Sony's been even worse. Zink. It's just that I don't think they said anything recently to talk about. Android Z Fold is what I use. Okay, Zink, if you're still in the chat, why did you buy the Android Z phone? You know what I'm saying? Because listen, none of us are buying phones because hey man, I bought the phone because of the exclusive Chase app, right? And that just doesn't happen. It's probably because you prefer the ecosystem or you like the design of the phone. And gaming doesn't have that. People are not buying the Xbox because it looks cool. All Microsoft has to do is be more aggressive with the brand, and they will catch the Gen Z attention. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, that's a that's an interesting take. Being more aggressive with the brand, definitely, definitely. I'll say this. I'm a nice guy, Phil apologist, but when you're a nice guy, that means that you're not really the most aggressive. You don't really see things the most aggressive way. And Xbox kind of these days could feel more passive aggressive, right? More, you get more feel instead of just saying shit outright. Kind of speaks for the tongue. You gotta interpret it. You know what I'm saying? Where maybe someone like Peter Moore would just say it straight out, like this is what Xbox is. This is what we want to do. So that really shows the big calm with someone like Phil Spencer. You don't get that level of aggressive that you want. And look, like you said earlier, Xbox is profitable at Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? It's just that this idea that it's got to keep growing, growing, growing to make shareholders happy. I think that is at its heart what's causing a lot of the issues here. And then and then you add everything else. Everything else kind of come together. Because of everything we talked about tonight, basically. All right. And the Z Fold allows me to look at two markets at the same time, and the Z Fold is enormous. Yeah, it's a huge phone. I think it looks awesome. Xbox aren't buying games enough. All the games will go to PS and Nintendo. Hey, yo, PlayStation gamers aren't buying game enough either. So, you know what I'm saying? Yes. And plus, and again, everything you're seeing, Phil's not the only one saying this shit. Sony's been saying worse for like the last year and a half, maybe longer. So we're not gonna play. Oh, you Xbox don't buy games. Motherfucking PlayStation don't buy fucking games. And Phil thinks that they're going to buy Xbox games when they don't buy their own shit, and Sony keeps lying about fucking numbers. Get out of here. iOS has some exclusive apps and games that's not on Android and vice versa with Android. For example, Facebook app looks and written different on iOS and Android. Fair enough, but do you think that a large majority of people, Extreme D, are buying an Android or Apple for over it? I don't, because I've never heard anybody say that before. I've never once heard it. At most it seems to be the shit like the ecosystem and ease of use or something, or the operating system. I bought Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush. I unfortunately I can't buy them right now because I got my finances are tied up with other things. But I really want the Hi-Fi Rush one, man. Xbox brand ain't showing. Console gaming as a whole is not growing. Isaiah, do you want me? Listen, I don't feel like fucking talking about PlayStation tonight, but dude, I could show you endless articles of PlayStation saying even worse than the shit Microsoft is saying right now, Isaiah. Not even close. Xbox makes app exclusive. That's why they'll go full third party. That has nothing to do with Gen Z. Yeah, the Gen Z quote. Actually, I don't. Yeah, the Gen Z quote. Yeah, that's nonsense. But nah, man. Xbox has great exclusives. It beats all the boring shit Sony releases. It beats all that bullshit. And don't sit here and tell me Spider-Man 2 was great when you have gay kids go to prom and you spray paint as deaf girls. Don't tell me about Xbox average shit when Sony games are filled with that boring bullshit. Or doing puzzles in God of War and every fucking moron in the game got to tell you what to do like a fucking 6-year-old. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna ignore him though, because it's not a Sony show. And I don't feel like pulling up the receipts to show that Sony ain't fucking sitting on pedestals either. Hell, Sony's been saying way worse shit than this. Yeah, man, it's after midnight, man. I ain't arguing over this nonsense. All right, and so yeah, I'm going to wrap it up because it looks like I'm at the end of the article here. He said, consider 2 years lack of growth in the gaming industry at the top line. You start to ask yourself, well, I don't want to grow at the expense of the industry. I want to grow as part of the industry. And what do we need to do as an industry to get back on the growth path? I mean, yeah, this is what everyone in any business asks. I just don't think on one hand you're saying, look, console gaming aren't growing, and then think that putting your games on other consoles the end all be all to the solution. 'Cause again, like I said, I don't think them games like Pentiment and all that shit's going to do all that, because those games like Granted and Sea of Thieves in particular, right? That those have 20 million players with grounded over 35 with Sea of Thieves. If you want to play that, you would have played it by now. You know what I'm saying? And the same. By the way, the same applies to the PlayStation. Everyone who wanted to play Horizon on PlayStation had already played it. And that's why Sony's putting all their games on PlayStation, because they have the same problem. There's no growth on the PlayStation side either, and they realize the same shit. Like, look, man, it's either grow or because these games, because we can't keep doing this shit with these games. I will say every decision we make today and tomorrow's better for the better of Xbox. I know sometimes things get weaponized, that there's some evil in the background that's making us do this. Phil hates exclusives, and that's why we're like PlayStation. That's why we're like PlayStation and Switch now. Oh, that's some weird wording. Every decision we make is to make Xbox stronger in the long run. It doesn't mean everyone's going to agree with every decision we make, but it's fundamental for how we make decisions. This is again, it's something that anyone who ran anything will just say. I don't, there's not much to interpret. This probably actually this is probably the most generic shit he said in the whole interview. Which props to Phil on that one. And for Spencer, moving towards the future is about walking in some parts away from exclusivity. The notion that Xbox can only be this one device that plugs into television isn't something that we see in Gen Z research, because nothing else is like that for them. Some of them will have iPhones, some will have Android, but all the games and everything is the same. I still get TikTok on both of them, at least for now. All their stuff is available wherever they want. So for Xbox, our brand pivot as we attract and maintain relevance to younger audience is Xbox is the place where I could find great games I want to. And okay, this not reading this part twice. Hopefully, oh man, hold that didn't cause that shit. Reading this part twice has caused again. This sounds like more again. It sounds more like, and this is where the interviewer probably could have asked for some clarity here, because this shit just sounds like he's talking about Xbox as the console and not the games. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe this is him walking back on exclusivity. Maybe this is the only the ultimate goal or some shit. And if that's where he's going, you know what I'm saying, then it is what it is. Look, I don't work for Microsoft. I ain't making these decisions, and I'm being real with you guys. I don't worry about shit I can't control. That's been my philosophy, and it's really helped me chill out in life. But with that said, if it's somebody I disagree with, like I spoke of all the shit I disagree with on this podcast, basically. Mainly his talks on exclusivities, and even yeah. But I swear this part just keeps reading to me as if he's talking about Xbox, the current place of like, hey, here we got Xbox games on your phone and tablet and this and that on your and we want it on Apple devices and Android and all that shit and on through the X. You can already do that with the Xbox set, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I ain't a fucking mind reader. Enzo said all those exclusive and still have to go to other platforms to get more engagement. Seems to me like they tried to really Game Pass, subs, but not working. I think it Enzo, the cost is more the issues, man. Because when these games cost 200 to 300 million, so again, Sony has the exact same problem. The exact same problem. Their games do not sell on their fucking consoles, and now they're putting it on PC to see if they could get more engagement on that shit, right? So that's my thoughts on that, and that's why Phil changed his tone completely. And Phil dissed Tim Dog. Just kidding. And it ain't easy to diss him, man. He has a point because Gen Z only plays Fortnite, Apex, and Call of Duty. They're not playing much new games. But it really depends on how they execute the strategy. Yeah, definitely. And I see Hebot just got in, so I'll get his thoughts before we call it a night in a second. But yeah. Ultimately, I'm not so like. I don't think, for example, to wrap up my thoughts, Spy, Enzo, other Zinc, and the rest of the chat, Extreme D. I don't think exclusivity is the problem because there just aren't that many exclusive games in the grand scheme of gaming. And then for Xbox, if they think that their games specifically need to be elsewhere, well, it's already elsewhere. You could get them on PC, you could play them on your tablet, phone, even some TVs. It's tied to the Xbox store, but that's where you, as a company, you say, hey, you put your store out there, you make it as attractive as possible, or however you want to get people to reach their games. I just don't think that this whole is just the end of exclusivity thing is either a good idea or the way to go. And I don't if like the article, because Phil didn't say this, the article's kind of just hinted at it, to be clear. But if like the article's hinting at Phil is like just trying to train people into thinking that, hey, this is Spencer's way of saying we're going to get more sales for older games and break some industry habits like exclusivity. Well, to that I say, you're not going to sell an Xbox to somebody if they could play Halo and God of War on PlayStation, but the Xbox can't play God of War and only Halo. You know what I'm saying? You're just not, and there's no amount of power or nothing that'll be attractive enough for the average person. It's just too hard of a sell. It's just way too hard of a sell for the average person. With that said, he bought the world's most powerful gamer. I hope you're still there.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Good evening. I know it's super late. I had such a long day, but I saw you, Daya, Sega Forever. 100 did something with a bunch of people. New Legal, and so since I'm not gonna lie, I was so out of touch, and I was literally looking for something because I'm like, I'm not even, because a lot of people were just not explaining it to me, so I had to look it up, and I'm like, okay, I think that this is something that's worth my opinion too. And I did hear your opinion earlier. You're very passionate, and that was another reason why I did this podcast. So maybe if you don't feel like repeating yourself, sorry for bringing you on this late. But if you don't mind, I'll pass the mic to you for a few minutes.
I just got in, man. I'm always out.
Yeah.
Getting the kids or something. So, to be honest, people don't realize, but it's easier for me to talk at this time than it is earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit, now I don't feel bad because it's like 12.
No, you kidding me? You're not bothering me. No.
Yeah.
Plus, we're talking about something we like. You know what I mean? So it makes it easy. It doesn't make it hard.
Yeah. So I think that you're able to see this earlier based off what you're saying on Sega.
Well, my son brought it up to my attention because I'm not on Twitter 24/7 anymore. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I got real life situations and problems that I got to worry about.
Yeah. Same here.
And for the most part, so do my kids too. But they happen to see things easier because they look on social more often. But again, they brought it to my attention about the Polygon interview, and of course, I'm not 100% sure what the interview that was put on Polygon wasn't more exaggerated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, because I just read through the whole article. I read through another article, and there's a lot. For example, the part about Phil said, like Phil never said that. For example, let me go to the part that I Phil never said. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. Let me find that part because it was towards the end too. Here, I think. Oh yeah, Phil. For example, Phil never said this for Spencer, but this is just this sentence here. That for Spencer, this is a way to bring more players and sales to old games, but it's also a way to break some old industry habits. He never said that, and no, and I read through this. Phil, there is no quote of him saying anything like that, and even with the exclusivity thing, to me it sounds like it's the issues, the cost of gaming right now to develop them, the business expectation side. So I'm not, I've there's no direct quote of him saying, "Hey, hey, this is we're going to put our games elsewhere." So a lot of it is kind of like reading between the lines type shit, if you will.
Right.
But still, I thought that there's enough interesting stuff that maybe I'd like to get your thoughts.
Well, it's a polarizing topic. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because it's something that that brings up a lot of questions. Is the exclusivity format, right, just not going to work as we go forward, right? Because the problem is most of because he called them the Gen Zs, are basically the casuals that play now. But again, the casuals that play now, they mainly play Call of Duty, GTA, Fortnite.
Yeah.
So Phil's not wrong in what he's trying to say. And basically what he's just trying to say is that the hardcore that appreciate gaming for what it is, appreciate all types of games, the format, the collectability aspect, like physical games, they're still important because they're still part of the gaming industry, but they're just not the ones that probably bring the biggest amount of revenue.
Well, I think I'm sorry to cut you off, but my interpretation was more so there's just not enough of them because
there's not enough
because pretty much what he's saying is like, look, there are people at he didn't say this directly, but what the vibe I'm getting is like, hey, this is people, the people at Microsoft who don't care about gaming, or people who invest in stocks, the stocks of these companies, or who's invested, are shareholders. They don't give a shit about gaming. Let's be clear.
They don't give a shit about it. They just want money.
Yeah, all they care about is like, did this game make money? If not, why not? Why are we investing this money and it's not doing?
Or can this game make money if you put it in here?
And to me, Phil's saying, look, he bought Unlimited. These guys are hardcore, but what about Jerry down the street? 19-year-old who just plays Call of Duty. How can we reach those? Because they're just because when a game. Here's the thing: with these games having these massive budgets, right? They're going. Unfortunately, gaming has reached a point where we're not enough to make these games successful, right? Back in the day, that you could put out a game, it sells very well, and then a year later you get the sequel. You know what I'm saying? And it was good enough for us hardcore to make a success. Unfortunately, when a game has bigger budgets than Hollywood movies he bought, I literally bought the collector's edition of Starfield.
Absolutely.
But that's just one sale from me. You bought the Steelbook edition of Starfield. That's just one sale from you. Unfortunately, when the game costs like $250 million or something like that to develop, they need more than us when we used to be good enough. At least that's the vibe I'm kind of getting. But sorry to cut you off. But
no, we're talking here, bro. It's never cut off. We're bouncing off each other. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. What I think would be a better solution, and this is from my experience as a gamer, to what we've seen through the years, they need to stop concentrating on just making games big and expensive. I think if they dwindle back and games like It Takes Two proves that, games like Hellblade proved that. Games like Psychonauts 2 proved that. These are all games that are nowhere near the $100 million mark, had success, and are high quality games.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's what they need to start doing, and I think they'll see better results. But the problem is, most companies, especially a company like Microsoft, they want to keep pushing tech and pushing tech, and I get it. But if it comes to the point where you're not making enough money pushing the tech, then you're going to have to make a compromise. Why don't we just make the games smaller, less expensive, use a little bit of tech here and there. We use ray tracing for one game, okay, fine, and we'll use 4K or 6K or 8K for another, and just kind of shovel it that way, but keep the cost as low as you can.
Right.
And if the game is 100% quality, the game's going to sell. People will buy. It Takes Two sold 16 million copies because it won the awards, it got word of mouth, and Microsoft still has a big issue that they don't get. They want to blame the scope of the of the demographic, right? But it's more than that, because if again they have several issues. One, they don't market as hard as they need to, right?
Yeah.
And they've always had that as a weak side, whether people want to accept it or not. They market, yes, but they don't market in every single area and venue, right? They don't market in stores like Walmart, Target, GameStop, because regardless of how much people think those stores are not relevant, they are. Because when you go in there, all you see is Nintendo plastered everywhere or PlayStation plastered everywhere. You see what I'm saying? And that's why employees go there and work there, or people go there and go, oh yeah, just buy a PlayStation 5 or buy a Nintendo Switch. Because you hit a good point, and I said that in the podcast earlier with Sega Forever. I said it doesn't matter how much more better the game runs on another console. That's not going to be enough to get the sale. Because if the game is good, it's going to be good. Because if that's the case, then the Switch would have died and not would have had none of the success it had so far this generation. That motherfuckers were touting playing fucking The Witcher at 13 frames. And you remember.
P-Bot, I disagree 100%. Here, let me tell y'all something.
Let me really say my thought. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big issue, right? Yes, you can push tech, but you have to come to a compromise, because the time we live is too different. Now, what I don't agree at all is that idea of, oh no, we don't need exclusive. Yes, you need exclusives, because if you don't have an exclusive to identify that console, there's no point in buying it. There's no point in buying a $5 machine if you can play everything on another machine that gives you other stuff that you can't play on that machine. You see what I'm trying to say? It is just, that's just logic, right? Because we all know, and I said it earlier, we all know that what made the hype for PS4 go up more was the stupid shit with the Spider-Man, because it was exclusive, and because that was the fad at the time, right? So if you can find the fad at the time that was going on with the gamers now, right? For example, let's say, Fortnite's a big deal, right? If they were somehow able to get Fortnite like exclusive, then that would definitely sell more consoles, and they would get the market share, because that's what the Gen Zs appreciate and like. But that's something almost impossible to do, because it's a multi-platform game. You see what I'm trying to say? It's like GTA. If they were able to get GTA only on Xbox, it would completely move, and there would be no more questioning about who's going to sell the most. Xbox would be the leading platform, hands down. But again, something that's impossible to do, because it's a multi-platform, right? So that's where it's like a double-edged sword. I'm not saying Phil has a lot of good points and he's right, but you also have to understand that Halo is the identity. He's the mascot of Xbox. And that's why people buy Xbox, hands down. because they know they're gonna play Halo, they know they're gonna play Forza, they know they're gonna play Gears, and now other stuff like the upcoming Perfect Dark, the Fable, the Valves, and Microsoft has the upper hand because now they own Bethesda and Activision. So companies like Sony and Nintendo need to be kissing their ass. But how are you going to do partnership where only you're giving, but they're not giving back? You see what I'm trying to say? They need to find a balance where, okay, we're going to do this because it's going to bring more revenue stream, also fine, but also bring a balance where we're going to get something in return as well. Whether it's bigger or smaller. Okay, we're gonna give you, let's say, the next Banjo. Let's say, right, hypothetically. So then you give us the next Bayonetta that comes out since you have that deal with Sega. You see what I'm saying? This is what needs to bring up. This would bring a balance. But what I don't like is that companies like Nintendo and Sony, they love taking, but they don't give shit back. You see what I'm saying? And to be honest, both Nintendo and Sony, they don't have the money long term. They would have to make those separate sacrifices to bring some of their games over to other consoles because it's just not the way it used to be no more. People don't buy the exclusive like that no more because they want just whatever's popular instead of
games, and this is why I was telling a couple of the people who are disagreeing with me in the chat. Like Sony has a worse problem than this. They're having a way worse problem than this.
Hey man, let me clean this up. Let me clean this up. Let me clean all of this up, and I want y'all to listen clearly. I have been gaming since inception. If they were to pull back, I would never game again. I have enough right now to continue playing. For someone like myself, just like I told Unlimited in the chat, I have a Z Fold. I'll never get a regular phone again. It's not conducive to what I do for work. While my people that I market with are fucking with their stupid ass computers, I have the proposal changed. I'm hosting the call. And it's all on my damn phone, and they fucking with the computer. Hold on, let me wear this shit out because I'm gonna close this shit up, and I don't ever want to hear about it again. Now, as far as the tech, the reason Sony ain't shit is because, like Horizon Forbidden Entertainment, it's one-dimensional. It's exclusively one-dimensional. The game is trash ass.
All of their games are like that.
Let me close them out. So the game does nothing. You play a little bit, you watch a dinosaur walk around and don't do shit. Dude, if you watch a Brumac come across, you better get your ass to moving because he's shooting at you. Okay? That's why I play Gears every fucking day. It's like a game of basketball. And if I'm the last one alive out of 5 people, and if I can't bring them motherfuckers back, I feel like I let the team down. It's hard for me to sleep at night, dude. I'm up for hours. I can't handle it. So the technology has to stay. I don't want no smaller fucking game. That would piss me smooth the fuck off. Let me finish it, Ebot.
You have the technology, but you have to try to budget it a little bit lower.
No, Ebot. I 100% disagree. Hey,
Ebot. Not going to make up the cost.
Hey, Hebot, let me tell you something. The Model T was made over 100 years ago. Fuck that car. I never want to see another one again. I don't want this old shit. You grow up to the next level. I don't want old shit. Hey, don't bring back old ass football. Okay, I want to keep the replay. I want to keep the all of the new offenses that they have and the new defenses. Don't take me back to the past. So when people are talking about like Spider-Man, it came with the hype. Now what did Spider-Man do? They laying off people at their #1 studio. These motherfuckers didn't purchase shit. So there's no reason for them to lay off people at Insomniac. But the reason they had to lay off people at Insomniac is because they made the exact same fucking game. You're not fooling me. All they did was make another.
Too. That's another thing.
That too. But people, Hey, well, okay, you could say that about that, and you could be right.
I think they made a worse game actually.
They sure did. Hey, check this out. Check this out. Furthermore, why is what's that piece of shit game that I've always hated? The one that
There's a lot of them, so it's
fight.
kind of hard
Well,
to narrow
fight.
it down.
My bad. Unlimited.
Hey, Sony?
Final Fantasy 7.
Okay.
That game, hey, Hebot, and you saw the numbers. It's a steady decline in their
Oh
homeland
yeah.
of Japan. A
Oh
steady
yeah.
decline because they continue to make the same shit. They're not, dude. It don't cost them nothing to make that game. They just think people gonna
No,
run out and
no.
buy that horse shit ass game. So and then with their consoles, it's you see, we've talked about this before, and Flip Money and I, and even us. I said they don't have that many consoles out there because the numbers, it just doesn't add up. See, you just can't run and talk shit like Destin, this damn fool Christopher Dring, and
Mm-hmm.
these jackasses at Polygon, the
Mm-hmm.
entire crew at Kind of Fucking Funny, the whole crew at Unlimited's favorite studio,
Sacred symbols.
Colin Moriarty,
Sacred symbols.
all sacred symbols, Unlimited Productions favorite crew. You just can't say how great some shit is. Oh, they're selling all of these, because to someone like myself, especially Unlimited, the numbers must add up. They don't
Mm-hmm.
add up. They don't have the game sales. They just don't.
Mm-hmm.
So they ain't nowhere in hell. I think Sony has more than 25 million PlayStations out there that are actually sold through to the consumer. There's no way. And then when they talk about this Gen Z stuff, hey man, look, the more things change, the more they remain the same. It's just coded differently. And when I'm talking about games have to have replay value, you've always heard me say that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very consistent in marketing. And what's that game, guys, that came out, the zombie game that they didn't say anything about? They just put it in the Game Pass, and
Dead
now that
Island
game,
2.
Dead
and now
Island
that
2.
shit, and now that shit is blown the fuck up.
It was
I
the eighth
told
most played game on Xbox.
Okay, it's the eighth
Mm-hmm.
most played game with no so-called marketing. I told you guys about 2 or 3 months ago or so, the Xbox created a marketing vehicle in Game Pass where it has more viewers than YouTubers, and it doesn't have any lost people like the Super Bowl will cast to more people, but they're only
The
broadcasting
Game
that
Pass is like their
commercial.
secret weapon.
What's that?
The Game Pass is like their secret weapon.
But this is what I'm saying. They created a marketing vehicle that's bigger than the Super Bowl because they're reaching 100% of their target market. They're
I know.
reaching
Yeah, yeah,
100.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying because they consistently
Yes,
stay. The
yes,
numbers stay there. Right, right. I know
correct.
what
And when
you.
you turn that console, hey, Unlimited was really pissed about this.
Oh,
When you remember Unlimited, when Call of Duty had that, when Xbox flashed this, when you turn your Xbox on and it showed the whole picture was some advertisement for something, and everybody was pissed about it.
Oh, that
Remember
didn't
that?
piss me off. I thought
Uh,
that
uh,
was genius.
oh yeah, no, we thought it was genius, but everybody, the haters' reactions was, I didn't pay that, I didn't pay money for that. I was like, I thought y'all wanted Microsoft to market. What's your problem? You
right,
crying?
right.
That was so genius. I'm like, dude, that was the greatest thing of all time. But it's little things like that, but they reach all gamers. Now, whether they like that game or not is a different story, but still they
Mhm.
reach 100% of their consumer demographic, you know. And as far as Nintendo, their market demographic is 12 and under. I said
Yeah,
that so long ago, but
that's a fact.
and this not even though I
That's a fact.
knew that, I did I got it off of Nintendo's boss it, a long time ago. He's like, "Hey, this is the group we want to cater to." He said
Hmm.
that, you
Yeah.
know, and people thought I was joking, and and I know they heard it. It's like when
Well,
Matt Booty
well, think
said,
real quick. Remember when Nintendo? I forgot what they said. They said if the Switch would not have been successful, right?
"Facts."
They were going to go bankrupt, and they said our IPs were going to die with us. Like that's just the way they think.
Yeah, and I think along in that same thing you were talking about later on or before that, that boss said we make 61% of our revenue in the fourth quarter alone in the United States. Okay, so when people are talking about the UK, I don't want to hear that shit. And like Unlimited said,
8%, Think. That's it. The UK is only 8%.
Ain't shit.
I thought it was 5. Oh my goodness, that's actually higher than I thought.
It's 8%. That's it. That's all it is.
And like Unlimited was talking, and I'm like, man, all my favorite people were on today. You know, all people that don't take shit. New Legal was talking shit. Dia and that dude that had the
Say it forever.
That's not his damn name. Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis and Dia was podcasting 100 podcasts, and then I'm fiddling around, fooling around with my mom. And then I turn around and Unlimited have a show. What the hell's going on around here? All my favorite people have a show that don't take no shit. You know?
I had a show because everybody else did it.
I know. I heard you.
I had no clue what's going on. I'm just like everybody talking about something. And I gotta say, y'all gotta put shit on screen because I had no clue what anyone was talking about in full context.
Hey, Unlimited.
Like I said, it's a compelling topic. It's good to talk about it.
Yeah, but nobody was clear. So I'm literally watching everybody. T-Bot. The only reason why this shit's on at 12:37 a.m. is because I'm watching everybody's podcast and nobody was clear on what was being said. So I'm like, what the fuck is everybody talking about? And so I literally get home at 11, Zinc. I literally get home before 11, right? Right before 11. And so I finally get on the computer. I'm looking like, I'm Googling Phil Spencer. Like, what did this dude say? That everybody
so you're able to put it up on screen. I don't know how to put that shit up. I gotta learn.
I was just about to say something about Heba, but let me attack Unlimited before I forget.
Okay.
I'm glad Unlimited did something that I did to kids in college. They would read an article from the Wall Street Journal. And they swore up and down it came from the CEO when there were no quotes. I'm like, you dumb motherfucker, you didn't read that shit properly. Like Unlimited said, there were no quotes here. I'm like, facts, you know? And then I'm glad you said some of the things a few others say, and of course it's not like I would do to them because your opinion is extremely valid. So, you know, it's totally different than I know they don't know what the hell they talking about, but at least I know your premise is in the right place. You know, it's nothing like theirs over there. And then I'm gonna finish it on this because my mother's power is out. I'm gonna have to go down the street. But remember us talking, and I was saying, man, I hope Phil Spencer don't say address. You remember they was like, oh, all of these games are going to the PlayStation. I was hoping so bad they wouldn't say anything. And they came out and said things and no one listened to them, anyone. So what did they gain? Nothing. But here's what they did. They had to address some things because the Xbox division is third at Microsoft.
You know what I think? You know what I think really convinced them? And I actually saw this video after they explained everything. It was even on channels like MSNBC about it's Microsoft getting out of, I don't remember if it was get out of gaming or killing exclusives, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And when it was on those channels, I'm like, oh, that was it. Because remember, they waited a long ass time to say anything, and everybody and this is what made me quit Twitter. I haven't been there over a month now.
No, I know it.
My life is so much better being ignorant. Like me. I finally visited E-Rock on the Pitcairn Islands. That's how great it's been with me disappearing, right? And what made me quit was everybody saying Phil needs to say something. Why the fuck does the head? Yeah, why the hell does the head of a company needs to come out and address Twitter? And it was so stupid. I'm like, all right, I'm out. And I haven't been back since.
Yes. But and I'm glad Heba is here. and I'm glad he because I watch those financial channels at like 4 in the morning, unlimited
Mm-hmm.
time in my time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll watch enough, then I'll go back to sleep for a half hour, and wake up and then, keep continue. But here's the thing, Hebot, is so much going on with Microsoft right now because they
Yeah.
they have 49% of open AI. And OpenAI is so huge, and AI is where everything is going. So the world is scrambling right now, and Microsoft is the leader in AI. And you see, Apple they lost two lawsuits overseas, and now the Department of Justice has gone after them for predatory practices.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft is like, okay, we getting away from this shit. Let's start splitting this stuff up so we can look like the cool guy on the block that's sharing all of our technology. And that's what's happening. They're showing that hey, we're friends with everybody. So they're splitting some of their things up, and it's like, here, let's let them have something, let's let them have something. And Nvidia is blowing the stock market away right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Nvidia is cool with everyone, and they showed all of their partners. But if you don't show your partners like Apple is doing, by like doing little bitty things to stifle the connection between an Apple and an Android phone, and making it like the CEO said to this one guy. He said, "Hey, I can't communicate well with my daughter. She has Apple phone and I have Android." And the
Mm-hmm.
Apple executive said, "Buy an iPhone." And that's enough to get his dumb ass sued. What a dummy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're spreading the wealth, and since Microsoft and Satya Nadella said this after during an earnings call, he said the Xbox is so important to us because we got some AI technology from the Xbox division. He said
Mm-hmm.
that shit out loud, and as the most powerful company, when you say something like that, now they're going to filter through the rest of the company. And it's kind of like Windows is on the Apple device and any other device because it's the primary way people do business today. And now they have Chat GBT. It's just crazy, man. So they have it big in so many facets of the market. It's ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why a lot of these things are happening. And so you're going to see a lot more of it. But as far as us giving all of our games to people, that's not going to happen. But Sea of
Right.
Thieves can support itself. It's
Oh yeah.
35
They, they
million
didn't. They
people
didn't.
playing.
They, yeah. They didn't even
They
need
didn't
that.
have to give them nothing,
Yeah.
but
But
they
I told
gave.
Yeah.
you, Zink, I'm telling you my honest opinion. They did that for the freedom of when they purchase anything else in the future, they
Facts.
won't be questioned and it won't take as long. You see what I'm trying to
Absolutely.
say? And that's
Absolutely.
how you do it. Why?
Mhm,
Oh, why would we not do this if we shared this, if we shared that? That's proof that they've
mhm.
done it. You
Yep.
get what I'm saying?
Yep. And then he bought when they have Activision, they say, hey, we could still spread the wealth. And like everybody was mad about what's that little company that said we don't want to be a part of Microsoft?
Oh, Toys for Bob,
Toys for Bob.
who did
Oh,
a deal with Xbox anyway.
deal. They made a
Yes.
deal. They came to
Yes.
a deal. They came with a deal. Like they made an agreement.
Right, but you see what Microsoft did first. They was like, all right, bro, it's cool,
Do what
relax,
you got to do.
Yeah, hey, they was like, all right, hey, all right, bro, it's all right, settle
Do
down,
you? Do you?
yeah, P-Bot, do you? And it's like, hey, man, you guys have, hey, I'm going to give you this coupon. You guys go get something to eat on me, and whatever you decide to do, we okay with it.
Mhm.
And they came back. It's like, man, that was pretty cool. I think
Again.
we should go kick it with these guys. And it just, dude, it makes them look good in the face
Yeah.
of the stupid ass FTC and the
Mm-hmm.
Department of Justice. And really, Congress didn't want to go at Microsoft anyway. It's our best company.
And the world too, Zink, the gaming world and industry, because they don't have the past that Sony and Nintendo get. And
Mhm.
people
Oh,
keep on
no pass.
thinking they do. They don't have a past
I'm gonna say
because of
this
the
last
fact
thing. I'm glad you said it that way, Heba, because you made me
that
think of one last thing. Hey, Hebot, Unlimited, listen to this, man. If it weren't for Microsoft, what would we be watching for E3 this year?
I mean,
nothing,
bro. It would be nothing there, dude.
nothing.
Jeff Kinney and his third parties. That's about
Dude,
it.
it wouldn't be. It would be nothing there, dude. I mean, it would be.
Because Sony ain't gonna do his show, Nintendo ain't
Right.
gonna do his
I don't
show.
think Nintendo has enough
And all
content
them,
to even show anything. Yeah.
And then all that would happen.
And I want to do a show to just show their console, especially with no games.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna do that. They're just gonna do a showing right before they launch it next year. Oh, and this is what we got. They've always done that. It's not new for Nintendo. They've done this the same way every time.
Right.
They start off strong, then once they get their sales, they get comfortable, and they show you nothing and do nothing and give you like one game a year, and everybody suck the nutsack. But that's because of what other things said too. The demographic is 12 and under.
Dude.
The beginning stages is the retro heads, right? That are like old like us. But
before I say something about that,
year, you know what it is.
Right. Before I say something about that, what were you gonna say, Unlimited? About E3?
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, Nintendo is not gonna show nothing. Sony's not gonna show nothing. And at worst, Jeff Keighley's going to bore us to death with that summer game show, which has sucked. By the way, every single one of them has been terrible.
Right. Hey, Unlimited, here's something you didn't know either. And I found, because I was busy just like you do for some odd reason. And Heba, you should have heard about this.
What? Which? Good.
Damn, what is it? What's my favorite guy? Ryan McCaffrey. What? IGN. IGN is supposed to have a panel. They supposed to have some panel, and they invited a bunch of YouTubers to their show during E3 week.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster. Because these YouTubers, but I don't know why they keep doing that. Because the YouTubers just expose themselves as literally not knowing nothing. Right. I mean, they'll be on the shows and they'll bring up a game, and the YouTubers be like, "What game is that?" And then you look at them like, "Dude, they've been promoting Call of Duty for just using random game Call of Duty for all year. Like, that's Call of Duty." And then you look at it like, how the hell do these guys have a following?
Yeah.
And they're the ones who keep getting all the new stuff, right? You know.
Hey, Unlimited, have you played Contra yet?
No, unfortunately not.
I'm still mad at Heba. Hey, Heba, I woke up. Hey, Heba, I woke up yesterday. I woke up at about 3 a.m. I said, how did Heba get that far? Because I can't get past this one part. I just lost all my replay.
Was that the night he did the live stream at like in the morning or something like that?
Yeah,
like he was on Twitch. I know he was on Twitch one night.
And I was tired. You could tell in my face. It was like 3
I jumped on his show on YouTube, and he was at a spot that I had never seen in Contra, and I hurried up and turned it off. And I'm like, damn, how did he get that far?
Yeah, hey, look, man. He has seen me post gameplay, and I got pretty far, and he had the same reaction.
I told him I don't want to ruin it because you get too far.
Yeah. So I understand, man. I'm upset at myself because I got more important financial stuff going on right now. I can't buy all these Xbox games. I can't buy none of these Xbox games on limited run. And I want it so bad. Especially, I heard the Hi-Fi Rush one went on sale. I can't buy that. Can't buy Pentiment, and I really want the High on Life collector's edition.
The Hi-Fi Rush is still not up yet. Unlimited, still not up yet. Hi-Fi Rush.
Hey, Heba, I don't give a shit that Unlimited can't buy it. Because, dude, gas prices up here are $3.79 because of this motherfucker.
Hey, look, man, you got to take that up with your local government. Tell them to start drilling up there. Stop blaming us.
Unlimited. It was the BP gas station. That's where you work, bro. Don't give me that shit. You raised that shit.
We're trying to move into a home apartment, and they want down payment with brokers' fees and month and a half securities. They want like $11 and $10 and $12,000. That's a down payment to a fucking house.
Yep.
And due to my situation, because I gotta kind of fix my credit a little bit, I can't do that. I have to move in and rent first. So it's fucked up. Situation, the economy is fucked up.
Yeah, man, it is, man. And what kills me, those limited run Xbox games look so good, but it's just like I got more important things to do right now, man. Video games come second unfortunately.
So when it has to do with what you need to with your daily life versus a game, you got to prioritize. Obviously, that's different.
Yeah. Gaming is a
No,
great
anybody
hobby, but
passes
it's
judgment on
not
that.
for.
If anybody passes judgment on that with you, they're a fucking idiot, because that's what they did to E-Rock when he couldn't buy anything, and that's how I met him and bought him the Tomb Raider, because they were making fun of him because he was talking about how they were being stupid, and he literally had a video where he had like 2 bags of food that he bought. He says, "I'm trying to survive right now." I'm like, "Yo, these people ain't shit on."
Everybody's been there. When the banks collapsed because of that jackass Bernie Madoff, dude, I went from being rich down to like, oh shit, what the hell's going on? I'm like, what happened?
Oh, that's right. I remember you told me
Oh
that.
my goodness gracious, dude.
You lost so much money.
Hey man, but you got to keep digging deep, man. You know,
yeah,
it ain't over.
Mike Johnson, man, shout out in the chat. He said consoles is the heart and soul of gaming. And
Mhm.
y'all said Unlimited traded Twitter for that OLED. Yup.
Well, look at the data. The data shows that the console's still 56% of the market.
Oh yeah, it ain't going anywhere.
I've been said that. And the one before is mobile, but mobile, even though it's number one, it's because people play those $1 games, those $2 games.
Yes.
They're not really playing games.
But they never add context to those numbers.
Right.
And it's done by design. It's done to trick you guys.
Yes.
Right.
That's why they don't
because look, at the end of the day, even your grandma could have a fucking phone and play something like Jewel,
talking
right?
about my mother.
Like, God. Let's say other things, Mom.
You know what the mobile is? You know what the mobile is he bought in Zinc? It's the Wii U. I mean, the original Wii. It's the original Wii. The Wii, the Wii. I remember. I kid you not. Yes. Everybody has the same story. Like people at church had a Wii for special occasions. At church, who
it was in nursing homes.
Yeah, nursing homes, and people who never played games, and that's what the mobile. Like matter of fact, earlier today, picked up my mom from the airport. While I'm driving her home. She on the phone playing Candy Crush. I didn't even know she liked the damn game.
Other Zinks, mother, my step grandma, right? She playing Bejeweled when she born in her house.
Yeah,
my mother playing Tetris, dude, and stuff like that. Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that people are actually spending the biggest dollars and buying the biggest games on a mobile. No,
yo, look,
not.
Look, I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna use my mom example just because it happened today. We come to my place. She look at my setup. She's like, "What is that?" Oh, that's the Xbox. She points to the one. What is that? Oh, that's the PlayStation 5. Oh, they look cool. She had no clue what they were, and yet she was just playing Candy Crush on the drive. Right. On the drive from Bush.
Hey, Unlimited. What did she say about your wall of controllers?
No, she's seen it before, so she don't really. She matter of fact, she is like your birthday coming up. You want a new one? Like that's how she looks at it.
They just dropped a new one, a camel white one, I think.
No, it's that Fallout one that I want.
The Fallout ones are nice.
Yeah, that look cool.
Yeah, but yeah. But you know what? I had an ex the first time she saw my game collection. She just looked and laughed, like not in an insulting way, but just like, damn, you got a lot of games. And she bought me a shelf. So if you ever see my collection videos, you see that shelf. Ex-girlfriend bought that for me. That's why I be telling E-Rock. The generation of women I date, they don't care that I play video games. That's never been an issue, so I'm not ashamed of it.
Whoever I go out with, if they don't like video games, they can jump out that same window Tim Dog jumped the fuck out of and stay out. You get your ass the fuck up out of here, bro. Ain't watching no game. Hey, one girl read the first Halo novel because I played games. Yep.
Yeah, man. My last, she wasn't a gamer, but she wanted to play games like It Takes Two and stuff with me, and I'm like, that's what's up.
That's a pretty good game, though.
Yeah. It's the perfect type of game to play with somebody. Yeah,
he about to like this one. My ex, when we just had our first kid, we beat House of the Dead with the light guns on the.
Really?
That's awesome right there.
Interesting. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just bought that Joker a car yesterday. So I was running around looking for him a car and stuff. I have had a hectic ass last 2 months, dude. That's why I've been gone. Just like Unlimited.
Yeah, man. The Unlimited Truth was on a hiatus for a reason, man, because it was. I mean, I'm still busy. I actually took the day off work because I had to, pick up my mom and do so much stuff today, and then so when everybody was doing their podcasts and stuff, I'm like, I don't know what in the world's going on. It must be good.
I didn't even hear you, Hebot, so I have to go back and listen to Sega Forever's show.
Yeah. He pops in about halfway through. He pops in about halfway because Sega, Jerry Lewis don't do short shows, so it's not like it ain't so if you listen from the start, man, you're gonna be like 2 hours in, like when the hell does Hebot get in? Right?
Terrible.
Yeah. And Legal show, his show was fire, and I had to get out of there because my mother was acting up.
Yeah, he had a great show too, man.
Yeah. Well, y'all cost me an ass whooping. I guess before I get to my mother's, I might as well cut a switch, and I'll be in trouble because I should have been over there a half hour ago.
Bad boy, you.
Yeah, I ain't shit.
That's on me sending you a link at 12 at midnight, man.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I know you want to get out of here too, Unlimited. But
we about to call tonight shortly.
Yeah, and Unlimited got to get back to raising gas.
I just want to say, man, this conversation is exactly why you and Hebot are so invaluable, because you guys come in just at a whole two different brilliant perspectives.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of when I had to cuss Hebot out about Harris. I'm like, dude, he teach you nothing. I'm like, what? Hey, Hebot, I actually started getting chills, dude. Man, I was looking around. Nobody was around. It was just me. I'm like, is Hebot crazy?
Look, man, as we see when it comes to Paul Tosti, you probably don't want to get him too riled up.
Oh, Paul Tosti disappeared. He knew I was gonna wipe that ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your favorite. We leave Paul alone. You can go ahead and deal with him.
He's done.
He is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything Colin Moriarty said in so long. I don't even know if he's still alive.
Well, you know what? We'll save that for another day because I know I heard the same thing I heard.
I heard you say. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. What was that he said again?
He said less is more. He said it's a good thing Sony doesn't have games right now.
He pulled that card. That's your point. It's good. It's brilliant. They don't have no games.
It's good because they broke. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. But listen, bro, he probably gonna be like, Sony broke. Like we all are broke or some shit next.
Unlimited. I cannot wait for you to see that clip, dude. Hey, if you find it before me, man. If I find it, I'm gonna send that shit to Unlimited. Hey, dude,
that
Unlimited was around
24/8 though.
Oh my goodness.
Every time he shows up, he's a clown 24/8. Every time he shows up, he's different person.
Facts. Yeah, but if you would have saw that Unlimited, you would have got fired, dude.
Yeah.
You would have did an immediate show.
That's hilarious, man. It's so funny, man. Sony, I've never seen a company get the defense. Let me rephrase it. I've never seen a company that constantly fails that gets the defense Sony does.
It failed up. It's insane, dude.
Yeah. I see companies, Apple. I mean, I know so many Apple fanboys, but at least Apple's like the second or third most valuable company on the planet.
Absolutely.
But Sony's nothing. People like I know it pisses off PlayStation fanboys to hear this, but Sony's not on anyone's radar outside of the video game space.
And that's only through social and through the gaming media, to be honest.
And this what you say best. It's perception, dude. And I always say, hey, that perception cannot buy you a ZeniMax. It just can't.
No. It buys you attention, but it doesn't bring you money. That's not how that works.
Sony this, Sony that.
Yeah, and as we're seeing, with the whole perception thing.
Well, look at all the perception with Final Fantasy. Is it helping the game? No, the game already said.
Yeah,
We about to bring
the media was giving that game 9s and 10s out the ass.
Well, you saw what they said. He said, "Well, we're about to bring that shit over once we finish the PC port somewhere else." It's coming to Xbox, apparently, to what they were saying.
Oh, I mean, you might as well let's use Phil Spencer's words on a PlayStation game. I mean, you might as well, like Phil Spencer saying, the cost, really reduces the risk publishers are willing to take. So you might as well take a risk and put that bitch on the Xbox at this point, man.
Oh, for real.
I mean, like what other option? Listen, you guys, a lot of people out there think that Microsoft are the ones who like Sony is doing at this rate 10 times even worse than the shit that Phil was saying today. And the stuff Phil was saying wasn't even that bad. It's just being what's that word when you interpret it poorly because it's Phil Spencer. For example, if the new head of Sony was saying this stuff, the headline would not be stuff like it's Phil Spencer again out. It might not be whatever his name is,
Hiroki Totoki.
It's Sony getting out exclusives. It would have been interpreted something different, and they would have probably pretended.
It would have been something like, well, unfortunately, due to Sony having so much bad situations or bad failures that were unexpected, they have to make the drastic measures or drastic changes of bringing games to other platforms so they can make money and stay afloat and stay within the industry. And at the same time, it'll help their developers, and because they care, it'll be worded like that.
And then they'll say, "And Sony is so smart. They just smart."
Well, they just said less is more.
Yes, they're so smart.
Well, the reality is they have less because they're just not, financially in that place that they were. They just not.
Facts.
And the truth is, what keeps them afloat is because they have the other revenues, whether it's from the movies, from the electronic division. That's what actually keeps them afloat. Plus, they do
listen to Hebot. They ain't doing so great in that because they releasing the Spider-Man games again.
Well, I mean, they're gonna remaster it probably 3 more times before the new console, but it is.
The movies they're releasing them.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Hey, and the last thing, here's one more thing. You remember,
I'm about to put something on screen as the last thing in a second.
Okay, this last thing for me. You remember how they were saying, "Oh, it's internal fighting at Microsoft. The higher ups are making Phil do this. They're making them do that." Hiroki Totoki is a higher up at Sony. I think he's second in command. That's a higher up that has just fired everyone, laid everybody off, and calling all of the shots and not bringing anyone else in. So no one is talking about that now, Hebot. All of these destines and nobody's now they don't say that anymore. Because that is actually,
it's not bad when it's Sony. When it's Sony, is a smart decision financially because they need to stay in the industry. When it's Xbox, it's because they don't care. They want to take your rights. They want to take everything. They don't care about employers because they're scumbags. They don't care about gaming. All they want to do is steal your money, so make you buy 50,000 controllers and all kinds of other stupid rhetoric. That's all you hear.
Smitty Smith, my dog, what's up? Pulled up in here late.
Oh, what's up, Smitty Smith? Dang,
yeah, Smitty Smith. He's the one who gifted me the contract, man. I'm so grateful, man. He gifted it to me.
Who, Smitty Smith did?
Yeah,
Smitty Smith is a real one, boy.
Yeah, man, he hooked it up.
Real dude.
I was like, damn, this kid, he just, here you go. And that's why, you have a level of appreciation for some of those guys like him that be there with you day in, day out, no matter what, right? And they support other people, but they show that love and respect from time to time to the ones that they find and feel are the real ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's hard to find. It's hard to find,
That's why I like the crew, man. That's why I like the crew.
Somebody, let's say for like Colt, right, or even Boom, they got a bigger audience, but most of those guys only chase them because they're supposed to be popular, but not because they have that level of respect for them. You know what I mean?
I heard Xbox fans were shitting on Colt again. I'm like, he must have said something stupid on his YouTube.
He's been quiet. He hasn't said shit.
Wow.
It's like
you know who has been super quiet? Your boy, the man with $1 million score, whatever his name.
Rand, he said some stupid shit.
No, he wasn't silent. Him and Jez were just last week
you.
saying they're jealous of the PS5.
Thank you.
The games that released on PS5 this year. Yeah, so
Unlimited. We have to watch Hebot. He was just trying to cover for Rand.
I really haven't seen him.
No.
Yeah, I'll call him.
We listen, man. None of us are on social media like that anymore. So we're all attached. We all missing out on stuff. But last thing before we wrap it up, man.
Let me give Hebot this boom thing.
All right.
He said just like the Xbox One X, the new PlayStation is going to release with no games. I'm like, boom. When I'm saying this to myself because I didn't comment on the show, but he said the Xbox One X released with nothing. That's when Forza 7 came with the only native 4K, 60 frame per second lock HDR game of the generation. What are you talking about? Do you play games, bruh?
Yeah, they have selective memory. That's what that's called.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Plus, on top of that, at that point, they had a bunch of games that were actually utilizing the console.
Yeah, and they upgraded.
As far as we know, right? As far as we know, that shit ain't even going to help out with the old shit.
Yeah,
it's supposed to have
check out this.
CPU.
Many developers call the PS5 Pro upgrade redundant. At GDC Game Developers Conference, the discourse largely centered around the necessity of the PS5 versus Pro update. According to Chris Dring, a reporter at Game Industry who attended attendees, there was widespread sentiment that the upgrade PS5 Pro is superfluous at the present time. And pretty much to sum it up, basically, devs don't think, listen, you're not even tapping into the PS5 while you're releasing a Pro. And then there's going to be nothing to come with it. So, this
and unlimited.
I don't know what's so. By the way, why is nobody criticizing Sony and all this software the way they did Sega in the 90s?
Right,
because they released a PSVR, headphones, PS Portal, now PS5 Pro. Nobody's going to buy into this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, they brought out like 5 hardware less than a year, right?
They did pull a Sega. Good. That was a good one, Unlimited. That was a good one.
Yeah, and where's the criticism? Because they used to shit on Sega all the time.
Dude.
I mean Sega. The reason why the Saturn didn't do good because we were so confused about the 32X.
Yes.
The Sega CD. How can we figure out that there are different consoles? All the stupid shit.
Every single Sega console or attachment that they released actually did what it said it was going to do. And it was actually an upgrade. You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it had games.
Yeah. Damn, Unlimited pulled. That was a good one, dude. And Unlimited was only 12 years old.
He always like to sneak people from the back. He does that all the time.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, but look at all this hardware Sony's released in the last year. Headphones, PS Portal, PSVR 2, but that by the way got shut down.
PSVR 2, like I said, they released like 5 hardware in less than a year.
Yeah,
and then it wasn't backwards compatible to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like. And people are wondering why because they're burning through fucking money with all these failure projects. My theory is that they did so much R&D that they just put these things out there just to see like maybe they could get some money out of it because none of them has done well. Exactly. And you always know because listen, Sony is simultaneously Sony is weird because you could always tell when something good going on because they'll pound in your face and it makes it easier to know when something fails. Because they will not talk about it whatsoever. Oh, they'll tell you PlayStation had 50 million consoles, which apparently that's been debunked, right? Right? And yet they don't say a word about PSVR 2. They don't say a word about the Portal sales. They don't say a word about the headbuds, and and the PS5 Pro ain't gonna do nothing. Nope. Especially if what I think Xbox is gonna do is start next generation earlier than we think. that's really gonna make the PS5 Pro redundant.
And then if Sony, if they really don't have any games, and if GTA is delayed until 2026, oh man, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Now you heard
imagine?
That, right?
Could you imagine a situation? Yeah, can you imagine a situation where Xbox says, okay, let's start next generation 2026, and it launches around the same time as GTA 6?
That'd be a problem.
Yeah, and I say you might as well just do it at this point. You know what I'm saying?
That would be a big thing.
Yeah, port the games that didn't make it to this generation to next. You know, and boom.
Jeremy Brown came through at the end.
Hey, yo, Jeremy Brown, that's the homie.
Yeah,
that's
Jeremy
crazy.
Brown,
Y'all still
bullshit.
Well, Jeremy, I started this show extremely late. That's why we're up so late. I started the show. I had a long day, man. I literally got home around 11. Decided to talk about this. But with that, I think it's a good place to start.
Hey, and Jeremy Brown, I'm gonna get my ass beat because I should have been at my mother's house about 45 minutes ago.
Well, we've been told you that you ain't shit unlimited. I mean, other thing, you know you ain't shit.
Right. That's right.
Fair enough. All right, but Zeke, man, if you got any final thoughts on
nothing, man, I'm good.
Awesome. Heba, if you got any final thoughts on all this, man.
No. I think we spoke our piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Great show today. The Unlimited Truth is still gonna be wonky like this for a little while as your boy Unlimited still extremely busy with life. But that's how it is. But until then, see us next time something drops. And with that, we are out.
Peace, everybody.